trainers, welcome back to Pokemon Deck Check. I would be PokeDad. And today on Pokemon TCG Unbroken Bonds, Blacephalon Welder. Very interesting deck. We've worked with it quite a bit, and so we definitely have a hot Pokemon opinion towards the end you don't want to miss. For Blacephalon, one Slanted, one Salazzle for extra draw. One Baby Volcanion, two Dedenne GX, two Tapu, and one Let Loose. So obviously Blacephalon, your heavy hitter. Don't really need to go into detail about that. Baby Volcanion, it's a good option as a non-GX, one prize attacker. Our interesting tech, Salazzle. Okay, what we've found with this deck is when you play Welder, it gives you 3 cards, but that 3 cards just doesn't get you what you need. You need more of a draw engine, okay? So, the original list did not have the second Dedenne, and it definitely didn't have the Salazzle. So we went back, we reworked it, added the second Dedenne, and added Salazzle for sustaining draw power. And that's what this deck needs. It needs to be able to play Welder or to play a Dedenne and to draw into a Welder plus some energy or Flint, because your hand just dwindles. Between Ultra Ball and Fiery Flint, your hand just goes down like crazy. So you need a way to keep building it up. And that's why we play like a heavier Lily count versus Cynthia, whereas the other Blacephalon decks play a heavy Cynthia count and a low Lily count. So, Let Loose, obviously, for disruption, especially if you can get Blacephalon going with a turn 1 attachment plus Welder, and then Let Loose them, and then you can possibly get into Dedenne to drop back up. So, I mean, at that point, you're just so far ahead. You're just mashing on the gas pedal the rest of the game. So that's it for the Pokies. Let's go into the items. Forms of search. All we have is 4 Ultra Ball. No Mysterious Treasure. We do not run Mysterious Treasure. We would like to, but just haven't found room for it. And honestly, your only target's Marshadow and Lele, so not sure how much value Mysterious Treasure brings in this deck. So 4 B-String, 3 Choice Band, because you're not going to have a ton of energy in to play with Naganadel. You need damage modifiers in the form of Choice Band, because a lot of the times you'll get the turn 1 attachment and you'll get the turn 1 Welder off. So that's only 150. So you need to at least hit 180. So that's why the 3 Choice Band. 3 Fiery Flint. 2 Fire Crystals. And this is just for prizing issues, because you are going to be discarding energy with the Salazzle, with the Heat Factory, and possibly the Dedenne. So it's nice to have 2 ways to recover it. Plus you can recover it and then play Welder. So that's all the items. I feel like everything's pretty much self-explanatory there. For the most part anyways. Now, draw supporters. I already talked about how you want to have a heavier Lily count, because your hand is going to be super small. So Lily it way back up. Then for Welder, you want to be playing Welder almost every turn. Unless you're established, looking for like a big KO or something like that, or maybe you're just taking a KO on something that's weaker, then you go into Lily. So 3 Guzma. Have been thinking about dropping it down to just 2, because in this style of deck, you want to be you just want to be destroying whatever's in front of you. So, and then 2 Cynthia. Shuffle draws, super sweet. So that's it for the support. Now let's go into a couple Viridian Forest and Heat Factory. So this way you can for sure get your one attachment or grab an energy, and then you can use Salazzle or Salazzle's draw engine. So, and it also gives you another way to get energy for Welder. So I think Viridian Forest is super important in this deck, and then obviously Heat Factory is just really, really strong. So, and finally the energy, we've got Beast, we got 4 fire, 8 fire, 12 fire, 15 fire. You do want to keep a high count because if you're trying to hit a Pokemon GX, then that could be possibly at least 5 fire going into the discard to hit 250. That leaves you with 8, 10. 10 left, and maybe you have to spend 4 to get 2 prizes, and then you need a way to get that last. Maybe they have another tag team, so you have 6 and then the Beast left. So still plenty of options. Maybe you have a couple in the discard, maybe you had a couple prized, so you still want a heavy count of energy. Okay, so alright, thoughts on the deck. And probably the question that's on most people's mind is this better than Blacephalon with Naganadel? In our opinion, if you can get going on turn 1 with a Welder plus attach for turn, let loose, and then you have access to either a draw supporter or Dedenne for the following turn, then most of the time you can just outpace your opponent big time. However, if you do take a big KO on turn 1 or even turn 2, and you can't get into all your draw engines, Dedenne, Salazzle, or Heat Factory, then you are going to lose. Unless you get into almost all your beast rings and you can just flood the board with energy, you're going to struggle. The mid to late game, this deck is definitely worse than the Naganadel. Early game, it's a no-brainer. This is so much better than the Naganadel. So there may be a way to combine both Naganadel plus the Welder energy. That way you have the speed from turn 1, and then you have the sustainability with Naganadel on the bench. So there may be a way to do that, and that's our next option to try. But we thought we'd share our Blacephalon Welder deck. As of right now, if we had to choose which Blacephalon deck to take to a tournament, I'm taking Naganadel. The concept's proven, and mid to late game, it is a lot stronger than Welder, because ultimately an attach for turn plus Welder is just going to be 180. Against the one prize attacker decks, this is going to be better probably. But against the big Pokemon GX that you have to hit some really ridiculous numbers, unless you get into the beast rings, you're not going to be able to do it. So, like I said, late game, mid to late game, the Naganadel engine's a lot better, more reliable. So, but this is good if you go first, and not even if you go first, just if you get that first knockout and then you're also able to disrupt them, then you can pretty much just burn right through the game. So, something to keep in mind. Definitely good stuff. We got, what's kind of on schedule here, we've got one more deck profile to do, and we got an inside tip on how to use Blastoise. So we're going to rework Blastoise GX, and we're going to profile it, and then after that profile, then we're going to go into Unbroken Bond's tournament gameplay. Okay, moment we've all been waiting for. Put these decks up against each other and see who comes out on top. That way we can start shaping how the meta is going to be, therefore giving you as much knowledge as possible. So let us do the Blastoise GX deck profile. It's new. It's not the one I posted yesterday. It's gonna have Meganium. Okay, it's Blastoise GX Meganium. So let me post that, and then we'll get into tournament gameplay. So that's it. Thanks for joining me, and be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes.